Alright guys, here's the part 2 of my care video. Basically gonna go over your proper diet, and that's about it in this video. So first we're gonna start off with this little list I made, what to feed and what not to feed. Basically I wrote for a salad diet, collard greens and sweet bell peppers. Cut the stems off and take the seeds out of the peppers. Just take the seeds out, that way he doesn't choke on them, and don't feed them the stems because they won't be able to chew it since it's so hard, especially as babies. And you can even throw the stems in your feeder tubs. This is my dubia roach tub. I bought 500 dubia roaches online because you can't really find them in stores, so you're gonna have to buy them online. So this is my dubia roach tub. Dubia roaches are probably the best thing to feed your bearded dragon, and honestly, if you don't like bugs and you're kind of squirmy with bugs, don't get a bearded dragon, because mostly when they're babies they eat meat or insects. So if you're not a fan of insects, don't get a bearded dragon, or at least get an adult bearded dragon, because they only need 20% meat, 80% veggie. As babies they need 80% veggie, 80% meat, 20% veggie as babies. So dubia roaches are the best feeders. They have a long digestive tract, so whatever calcium you feed them, it's gonna go toward your bearded dragon. I have a chart that I'll put in this video showing you the pros and cons of dubia roaches and crickets, and in my opinion dubia roaches are way better to get for your bearded dragon. Another good feeder, and these are staple feeders too. They're hard to find, but they're a lot better than crickets. Crickets have a hard exterior shell, and they're mostly shell instead of like meat, and dubia roaches are mostly meat, less shell. And another good feeder, and these are staple worms here. These are phoenix worms. I got about 250 of them, and these are basically good for your bearded dragon because they're packed with calcium. In mealworms, I have these mealworms because I bought them prior to getting phoenix worms, because phoenix worms do take 2 or 3 days to come in the mail. So I basically bought these just to hold them over until I did get my phoenix worms, and these are just emergencies when my phoenix worms run out. But basically you only want to feed crickets as like an emergency feeder. If you don't have enough food and you don't think that you'll have enough roaches for the next feeding, get crickets in the meantime until you can order more roaches. I recommend breeding roaches. I'm gonna get into that project soon. Basically you'll be set for life if you breed the roaches. You won't have to go out and buy online, spend like $70 for roaches, and then another additional shipping fee. I think I got my roaches for like 60 bucks, 500 roaches, which isn't bad. 500 crickets at the pet store is probably like $40 to $30. So I would honestly recommend getting the healthier food for your bearded dragon and just spending the extra cash. Or breed roaches, which will be a lot cheaper and you'll be set for life. But sprinkle everything with calcium dust. This is Herptovite multivitamins. I sprinkle everything with this, and also his RepCal with vitamin D3. I sprinkle both of these together on everything I feed him. I'll put like a pinch of multivitamins and a couple pinches of D3, and I'll sprinkle them on his salad. I'll sprinkle them on his phoenix worms, his roaches. Maybe even when I put him in the sink to take a bath, I'll put a pinch of it in the sink, and maybe when he drinks it, he'll drink the calcium as well. Don't feed mealworms because they're mostly shell. There's no protein in them whatsoever, so it's basically a waste of money to buy mealworms. So just get phoenix worms. They're packed with calcium, and they kind of feel like wax worms, but wax worms are not a staple diet. They're basically just to fat up your bearded dragon. The same with hornworms. If you're gonna breed and you want to fatten them up for breeding season, or after they lay eggs and you want to fatten them back up to give them that, like, give them their gut back, because basically they lose it after they lay eggs. Feed them the wax worms and stuff, like the fatty foods, and that'll give them, you know, their fats back. And feed them some dubia roaches. That'll give them their calcium and their fats. So basically just feed them that. I have on this sheet right here the meat diet. It's dubia roaches, the best feed. Phoenix worms are the best feeds. I already covered that. Crickets and are the last resort. Same with mealworms. Hornworms should just be given as a treat. Same with pinky mice. You don't want to feed them pinky mice like every day. They won't be able to digest the bones and everything else like a snake would. They'd be able to digest everything. It'll take these guys a little bit to digest them. Don't give pinky mice until they're about a year, maybe a year and a half old. They're fairly small. I mean, I think my little guy's 2 months old, maybe a little more than 2 months, and he's still probably a little bigger than my hand. So I wouldn't give them pinky mice until they're about a year and a half. Again, you know, you want to make sure you're feeding them the best. Cut off the stems of your collard greens. They say you can give them kale, and I forget what other stuff. Don't give them avocado, or I think they said spinach and avocado. You shouldn't give them. I guess they have a lot of acids in there, and the acids will destroy their, like, inside, their gut and everything. So just stay away from those. I just feed mine collard greens. I saw online Weeby Reptiles. He showed a video of how to make bearded dragon salad, so I basically just used exactly what he said to use, and my dragon loves it. If you can't get him to eat salad, throw some phoenix worms in there. If you have phoenix worms or whatever worms or feeders you have, your insect feeders, throw them in, you know, the salad, and he'll see them moving, and he'll go to eat those, the worms or the insect or whatever you're putting in there, and he might grab some greens, and that's also very good for him. I saw another video on YouTube of these guys throwing their feeders inside their water to get their bearded dragon to drink. Every time they go to get an insect, they would grab, you know, a couple drops of water, and that would hydrate their dragon. That's another trick you could use to hydrate your dragon and get them to eat, is throw some insects in whatever your water or your greens. I haven't tried it yet because my guy usually drinks if I just splash water on him, but I might try throwing some insects in the water and seeing if he'll eat them. But I mean, that's it, guys. That's all I have to tell you for feeding. Feed them roaches. They're the best to give them. Don't feed them pinky mice as often, maybe like once or twice a month. Wait till they're a year and a half to do this, to do so. Make sure they're hydrated. People say they don't need to be hydrated, but that's a lie. You don't have to have water in there, but they still need to be hydrated. So just spray some water on them, throw them in the sink, let them take a bath. Baths also help them shed, and you want to make sure they get the proper shed, because they'll lose their toes if they don't. Or they won't be able to get it off their eye, and they'll get an eye infection, or they won't be able to get it off their mouth. They won't be able to open their mouths. So make sure they shed properly, feed them the right foods, and you'll have the healthy bearded dragon. I mean, that's all there really is to it. If you don't feed them the right foods, you won't have a happy dragon. You know, it won't be a very active dragon. My little guy runs around the tank all the time. I take him out and he'll run around my room. So, I mean, lighting, the way you treat them, and the foods you feed them can change your dragon's behavior dramatically. So just follow these steps, or even if you don't want to, watch a couple other videos and follow someone else's steps or look it up online. That's about it, guys. Make sure you take care of your dragons, and thanks for watching.